everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Magical Jill, and today we are going to be talking about quite possibly the cringiest thing that ever came out of the American version of Sailor Moon.
Hi, I'm Sailor Moon, champion of justice. On behalf of the moon, I shall right wrongs and triumph over evil. Today, I'm going to show you how I met Luna, that yakety-yak cat from outer space, and became a wicked cool superheroine. So, get ready for some major moon action. Here we go! Moon Prism Power!
Yeah, so I've seen people be very, very hard on this, which is one of the weirdest segments surrounding Sailor Moon. It was a marathon. I believe it aired around Thanksgiving, although people debate on if these segments played at other times on Channel 55. Sailor Moon's aired in so many different countries over the years. Maybe you are the one person out there sitting on a gold mine. You recorded something even crazier surrounding Sailor Moon in your home country. Let us know, because we'd love to cover that.
Yeah, we want you to share it with us. My goodness. So before we get into this video, I did have a question of the day. I wanted to ask you, would you ever want to see a live-action English-speaking Sailor Moon again at all? Because we do have the PGSM, Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, that is entirely in Japanese. If you want that, you should tell us in the comments. I'm not sure after seeing some of this stuff.
Yeah,
but maybe it would be higher quality.
We're not saying we want that.
No.
I think especially after you've seen like all these Netflix adaptations, most of which I think are trash of anime, and you've seen things like what we're going to talk about today, and even things like Dragon Ball Evolution, I think Americanizing anime is usually a bad idea. But this is basically surrounding an actress named Tia Browsh. I believe that's how you say her name. It's either that or Brosh. As she's kind of disappeared from the public limelight, I have seen people be very mean about this. This is not her fault.
Her job was to show up for this Thanksgiving marathon, and she did like the clips that they play before and after the episodes end or before commercials and stuff.
Basically, Sailor Moon Says.
Yeah, kind of like that, but it was a live action version of it. And she put on this costume, and the wig looked like a mullet with humongous buns. It was really bad, and she's usually a really pretty girl from what I've seen from her pictures.
She's gorgeous, yeah.
But the wig and the makeup that they put on her made her look like a goblin, in my opinion.
Looks like I bit off more than I can chew. As if. I mean, I am numero uno at chowing. Besides, when one of your girlfriends is monster bait, hey, you gotta be there, you know? Even with all my major cool Sailor Moon powers, I really thought I'd be toast.
Even for the 90s, some of the things that she said were cringy for even back then. Like, she called Tuxedo Mask a hunkster.
Anyway, in our first episode, Luna taught me how to become Sailor Moon, and then Tuxedo Mask saved me. Oh, what a hunkster!
And she said she'd be majorly bummed about things, and just a lot of, like, it was a lot of 90s lingo that
it was already going out of style.
Yeah, it was already going out of style, and it felt like your 50-year-old mother, who didn't really understand what words were hip at the time, wrote the script.
Yeah, it certainly felt like it was written by some kind of executive or like some childless 40-year-old man. I think that when it comes down to it, this is something where, again, she showed up and did her job. We're not hating on her. The costume itself is okay, but like as a costume, but when you get above the shoulders, it just goes insane.
Yeah,
like the hair is one of the most distracting things ever.
Yeah, it's like bigger than her head. It's like the ponytails parts that come out of her buns are thicker than her hands.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, I feel like that's not normal.
It's absolutely crazy.
And the outfit gives her no torso. It's like pulled up a lot. You notice how the girls in the show, like, you can see their torsos and it kind of goes down to their, like, past their waistline.
Yeah,
and
it
then the
flows
skirt shows.
aesthetically because it was that original, you know, the Naoko design.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of translated into an anime.
It's like they took that dress and then they shortened it a ton, so then the skirt would stop just above her lady parts. Or, like, just below them, I mean.
Yeah, it almost feels like if you gave her a wedgie by pulling up her entire outfit.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
it
like
was
a cartoon
not good.
character.
It was not good.
And
it makes me sad because this girl, she very obviously tried so hard on this role. So, like, she was putting a ton of emotion into it. She was putting in all these facial expressions. Like, she was, like, really earning her money here.
Oh no! One of those mutants from the Negaverse has Amy in a totally bad way, and it's up to me to save her! I know I sound majorly brave, but inside I'm just a quivering mass of flying jello. with lots of whipped cream and a cherry on top. Hey, where's my snack break?
And they just gave her the worst things to say, and they gave her the worst poses to do.
I think you should show a couple of those again real quick.
Freeze! And that means you, because I'll be right back. Oh, hi! Sailor Moon here, champion of justice. On behalf of the moon, I shall right wrongs and triumph over evil. Today, I'm going to show you how my new friends Ray and Lita became superheroines like me. It's Moon Magic time! So, get ready for some major moon action. Here we go! Moon Prism Power!
They tried to get her to do the pose that Sailor Moon does when she says she'll punish you, but it just looked bad. It's like they didn't use good choreography for it. They just said to Tia, okay, now try to make it look like this. And then they started filming.
I've seen it said that she signed a contract to potentially play Sailor Moon in a live-action film. I can't find an actual source for that. The only source I ever found for that was on the Sailor Moon dub wiki.
Yeah.
And the source they just said was her name.
Some people say that's a rumor. I don't know if it necessarily was something that was happening or if it wasn't. And it makes me sad because I feel like that actress herself could have been a really fun, bubbly Sailor Moon. But instead, they gave her the worst outfit of all time. They gave her horrible acting directions in order to, like, do the stuff that was, like, basically embarrassing. And then for some reason, I think the writers thought Sailor Moon was, like, overly obese or something. Because every single clip, she is nonstop talking about some sort of random food.
If you find any old candy bars, packages of gum, or boxes of cookies cluttering up your desk, just send them to me. Anyway, your letters are giving me a humongoid appetite. I mean, she said learning new stuff at school could be fun if I paid as much attention to my homework as I did to triple dip hot fudge sundaes and Sailor V comic books. Oh, as if. I'm gonna try it, especially the part about the breakfast. I'll have a big stack of pancakes and fruit with a big scoop of bubblegum ice cream on top. Stick around while I snarf a snack. I'll make it quick, don't worry. Well, Rachel, personally, I think that's because she eats too many veggies and not enough fun food. She could use a few hot fudge sundaes. So could I. Not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every single clip. I mean, of course Sailor Moon loves food, but not every other sentence is she saying, by the way, I really want some cake. Also, I'm starving to death. Did you know I'm cousins with Majin Buu?
This makes me hungry. I think that it's like they saw that one sketch that Luna drew of Sailor Moon in the, like, losing weight controversial episode.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's it.
That must be Sailor Moon.
That is the essence of who she is. She'll mention Luna randomly in different things, saying it was this yakety yak cat.
And she keeps nagging me.
Yeah,
which is
over and
funny
over.
because she does nag her, but it's weird to say yakety yak. I don't remember that ever being a phrase. And I was born in 2001, so I was kind of like outside of the 90s a little bit, but some of that slang was still going around.
I was born in the 90s. Yeah, I don't remember anyone talking like this. But
No.
that said, there was a lot of 90s lingo that was there. I do think something interesting about the whole thing, too, is that this entire marathon didn't even play through all of Sailor Moon Season 1 or anything like that. Some people on Reddit have compiled the episodes it played, and a lot of it was just, like, first appearances of sailors and then the very ending.
Yeah, I'm gonna show the list right here. I just find it very interesting. It, like, skips past a ton of stuff. It goes from the episode where Makoto, who they call Lita in this, it becomes Sailor Jupiter, and then it skips all the way to the episode where Artemis and Sailor Venus show up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very long stretch of episodes there, you know? Like, there was, like, a miniature arc throughout those episodes between Jupiter becoming Jupiter and Venus showing up.
Well, honestly, they skipped all kinds of episodes, even between the other sailors showing up, too.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like rapid fire. Here's Moon, here's Mercury, here's, Mars. Oh, here, quick, get to Jupiter, and then we gotta get to the end.
And then they had it be Sailor Moon finds out she's the Moon Princess, and then the very next episode is the final battle with Beryl.
Where they basically get all killed.
We skipped the entire arc where Mamoru was evil, basically.
Yeah, we just saw the tail end of it.
Yeah.
Again, none of these criticisms are really at Tia, because I do think that she's still around on social media sometimes. I hate when people go back, they find something that someone did in the past, and then they're like, it's been 30 years, time to,
Make
take
fun of
shots
them,
at you.
be mean to them.
I just think it's a very, very weird situation where it's like, I don't really know what TV executives were thinking, but I do think that TV can't be understated in its importance with anime. I was reading a lot of people who found Sailor Moon through this.
Yeah, found it through this marathon. And even though this marathon, I feel like, is an absolutely terrible representation of Sailor Moon the show, at least it got people into it, you know? And maybe back then when you were a little kid and you saw Tia on TV, maybe it was like, whoa, that's really Sailor Moon? Like, maybe it was actually really cool.
Yeah, even with all the fake letters she read, because she did read a lot of fake letters that I refuse to believe were sent to the TV station.
I do not believe any of those were real. Why would somebody waste a whole stamp just to write, why do you have those things on your head?
You know, and I do want to say that with TV stations, like I said before, it is important. I mean, you look at a station like Toonami, we talked about the Toonami revival coming back. We have some examples that I cut down of like how to actually do a good representation, even with more of an Americanized dub of anime. You know, how to actually hype that up.
These ladies take girl power to a whole new level.
We're gonna bust some bad guys! Yeah!
Sailor Moon, weekdays at 4. Only Toonami. Frieza, Super Saiyans, Trunks, and more. 77 episodes, never before seen in America.
Now don't expect me to go easy on you.
Now, Ash must save his mother and the town of Greenfield from the crystal clutches of the unknown.
But something you said about that, Jill, was that it really did make you feel like hyped up, like you were ready for the next episode. They'd be like, we have 10 new episodes of Dragon Ball. They've never been translated before now, and we're showing them to you first. Or
my favorite is the one where they say Sailor Moon and the girls are back with girl power,
Yeah,
and
they
then
take
they
it to
show
a
this
new
epic
level.
kick that Venus does.
Yeah.
I loved that. That was really good. It really hypes up the show, even though for me the Deke dub is not my favorite. It really makes it feel like super exciting, you know, and I really liked that. And then you go and you see
something like this.
the thing that they put poor Tia up to, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they made that and thought it looked good.
I think this is an example where they really didn't want the demographic that this was for in Japan to be the demographic here. Have you noticed that with Sailor Moon?
Yes, I have very much noticed that, because it's very watered down, and most of the stuff she was saying would not have flown well in Japan.
Or with teenagers.
Or with teenagers at all. Like, she even says one of her favorite subjects in school is music, and then she says she loves elevator music.
This one is from Ian Crawford of San Mateo. He says, Dear Sailor Moon, what are your favorite and least favorite subjects? Well, that's easy. My least favorite is dieting. Okay, so it's not really a subject, but the very thought of not being able to eat whatever I want is just too much to bear. As for my favorite, well, since there aren't any classes in shopping, I'd have to say music. I love all kinds of music, from elevator to country and everything in between.
And I don't know about you guys, but when I was a teenager, I wasn't listening to elevator music on Spotify.
As much as people meme on it, as much as you can point to like good examples of hyping up anime, Toonami, there is still like something to be said of the fact of how many people found Sailor Moon, not just through the Deke dub and then the Clover dub, which is kind of just an extension of it, but through just weird things like this. I mean, if you hadn't gotten Americanized Sailor Moon that was aimed probably more at like younger children than at teenagers, which it was in Japan, you know, more teenagers and young adults. If you hadn't gotten this, I don't think you ever would have gotten Sailor Moon on a worldwide scale in the West the way that you did. Like, I don't think you would have gotten the Viz dub later in America and things like that.
I myself maybe never would have gotten into Sailor Moon because my sister was a teenager during those years that was going on, and she got the VHS tapes of some of the shows and the movies, and when I was a little kid, she would watch them with me, and I would watch them over and over and over and over again until the VHSs broke. That's how much I really enjoyed it. And then as I got older, I was like, I really loved that Sailor Moon show, and I really want to like try and find it again. So then I'd watch some of it online, or I'd buy the manga and stuff like that, and it kind of made me a fan over the course of my life.
It's interesting though to see that trajectory. Like, if you hadn't gotten the occasional cringe marathon, or you hadn't gotten the Deke dub, which, you know, even though it's not our favorite, it is some people's, it was their exposure to it. You hadn't gotten those things, you wouldn't have gotten it on VHS, because if it wasn't popular on TV, it
wouldn't have been printed.
It wouldn't have been printed on VHS. If it hadn't been popular on VHS, you wouldn't have gotten all the marketing pushes. You wouldn't have seen Toei looking at the West and saying, oh, they like this stuff.
Yeah.
More money. Because that's really what they look at it as, you know, when they see America connecting with anime, it's, wow, a potential revenue source. You wouldn't have gotten any of that if it weren't for things like this, and I think that's very interesting.
It is extremely interesting, and, you know, I think that even though really cringy things like this happened, it's probably a good thing that they happened, and it's a good thing we don't erase them from the timeline.
Yeah, it's a fun little media thing to uncover, too. One of the sad notes is it makes me wonder how many weird little things like this nobody ever recorded. You know, when it comes to different...
I want to see them all.
Yeah, I know, when it comes to different dubs and different things like that, or like how many of them happened in maybe Mexico, or happened in Italy. Like, did they have their own weird Sailor Moon anime marathon? We don't know.
I bet they did for some of the Latin America places, because it was really a big show in Latin America.
And you have to remember, there was actually a time where not everybody had a VHS that could record.
Yeah.
You know, so at the time, it's like, how many of those things broadcast and they're just gone? Weird little nuggets like this make me wonder that.
It makes me wonder that too. I wonder if anybody who's watching has any of like those types of clips that they may have seen in a different country if they're from there, because that would have been awesome.
Well, if you do, uploading it to the internet and preserving it for people to kind of have a little nostalgia trip is just a fun thing, so I'm glad people did that with this. But Jill, before we hop right out of that hoppity hippity rad video, I gotta take the meatballs out of my head, take the cake out of the oven, have myself a big old loaf of bread, and I gotta ask you what these Golly G folks should do before they head on out. Go ahead, hit us with the yakety yak.
Excuse me?
Sorry, I got paid by an executive to say all that. Was it worth my soul? You tell me.
Yes, it definitely was. Well, before you guys go, speaking of Sailor, you should use the code SAILOR on my shop, cosmobunny.shop, where I make a lot of really awesome, unique art pieces out of resin. I make resin coasters, resin keychains, and what I make them out of is I will use recycled manga and recycled comic books and other recycled type paper things that I get from places that can't sell them, or maybe they're being thrown in the trash, and I make something new and awesome out of them for you to keep.
And the holidays are coming up, so
the holidays
Jill,
are coming up.
There's a lot of people in your comments who are like mega fans of anime, comics, manga, video games, all this stuff. Sometimes we even get gaming magazines that were being thrown in landfills. We take them, we turn them into something new. You know, maybe there's someone in your life who has like everything. You're like, they got every figure, they've got everything.
Yeah, like my grandpa, he has like everything that you could ever want.
But you know what they don't have?
They don't have a one-of-a-kind keychain.
Exactly, because unless they cloned you and made it themselves, there's no way they have
exactly,
that.
or a one-of-a-kind coaster. And everybody has to have drinks that they need to put on something. I mean, do you want to mess up your furniture with like sweaty drinks?
No.
I didn't think so.
Absolutely not.
Right?
You don't want to get yelled at by somebody else in your house at the very least.
Yeah, one-of-a-kind coaster. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Did you get yelled at for that?
I got yelled at a lot too.
So hey, avoid it. Learn from our mistakes. Buy our art.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's pretty good. Check it out. Use code SAILOR. And as Christmas comes up, I will start having some more sales going on. So
and
I hope you guys check
jewelry.
that out.
Jewelry too.
And I have a lot of awesome handmade jewelry. A couple of pieces are kind of cosplay-y. So I hope to see you all in the next video, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Bye. Stay groovy.
No, don't say that.
Yakety yak.
What in the world?
See you around.